get more comment on this now in Westminster. There's Richard Burgon. Richard's a Labour MP for East Leeds. Richard, do you know how you're going to vote tonight?
Hi, Eamonn. Tonight I'll be voting against David Cameron's plan to bomb Syria. That's not because I'm a pacifist, I'm not. But looking at it, I don't believe that David Cameron's proposal is in the interests of the Syrian people, in the interests of the wider region, or, crucially, in the interests of Britain or Britain's national security.
And do you think the way you would vote would reflect how your constituency would want you to vote?
Well, I was interested in the poll that you just referred to in the newspaper in your package, which said that public opinion is moving against bombing, with a majority now not in favour of David Cameron's bombing plan. But I'd also say that public opinion at this stage can change the results of events. I remember very well that despite the 2 million people marching against the Iraq war, there was at that time of that march a small majority of people in favour of the Iraq war. But now, following events, you can hardly find anybody that believes it was the right thing to do.
Hilary Benn thinks a yes vote is the right thing to do tonight, and he's a neighbouring MP of yours. He'll be representing his constituents somewhat differently.
Well, it's up to each member of Parliament in the Labour Party to decide what they think the right thing to do. It is a free vote. With respect, I do disagree with Hilary Benn on this issue. I believe that Jeremy Corbyn, who got it right on Iraq and who got it right on Libya, is correct when it comes to Syria. And I think we'll see today that a minority of Labour MPs will vote against Jeremy Corbyn's suggestion, but the majority of MPs will vote with Jeremy Corbyn's suggestion in the Labour Party. But the big issue really isn't the who's up and who's down in the Labour Party. The big issue is that today MPs and Parliament face the biggest and most serious decision they can ever face, whether or not to send UK military personnel into military action.
And you know, Richard, I just wonder, bearing in mind, you've heard these reports from the Prime Minister last night, what he was supposed to have said about anybody who doesn't vote yes on this as a terrorist sympathiser. Does that put you, or do you feel slighted by that? Are you in that bracket, or do you feel slighted by that?
I feel anybody who believes in our parliamentary system as being a form of rational debate and reasonable consideration should all feel offended by what the Prime Minister said. It was outrageous and ridiculous to suggest that anybody who has serious concerns about his plan and the unintended consequences of his plan if it's carried out, to suggest that they're terrorist sympathisers is absolutely outrageous and an insult to the people of this country and to our democracy.
But there's been strong tactics and harsh words on both sides. We're hearing reports today that Mr Corbyn's supporters have been aggressively targeting Labour MPs to try and keep the numbers backing action down. And we heard from one MP who is pro-airstrikes. He reported an exchange with one of his leader supporters who told him, "You want to start this? We'll finish it."
Well, again, I think the big issue we need to focus on is not whether Labour Party members are agreeing or disagreeing with me, and not whether Labour Party members are agreeing or disagreeing with their particular Labour MP. But the fact is, Parliament will today make a decision which could result in Syrian civilians dying at the hands of British bombs, which could result in us feeding ISIL's narrative that the West is in a crusade against the Muslim world, and which could result in support for ISIL increasing, and which could result in Britain's position in terms of national security not being assisted.
OK, I understand that. But what, Richard, would the alternative be? How do you stop IS, or do you not bother?
Well, as I say, I'm not a pacifist, and I do believe that ISIL needs to be militarily defeated. But I think, given our appalling track record in that region, whether it be Iraq or Libya, that it's not Western planes and not Western boots on the ground and not UK planes and UK boots on the ground that will be most effective in delivering that. I think that's what ISIL wants us to do. What we need to do is use Britain's international standing to support ongoing peace talks in Vienna. Not peace talks with ISIL, of course, but peace talks to bring an end to the civil war in Syria. Because when a military defeat is inflicted upon ISIL, as it needs to be, I think it can be most effectively inflicted and delivered by people, troops and movements in that region.
Are you bracing yourself for a defeat in this vote tonight?
I would urge all MPs, whether they watch your programme or not, to think again. It's not too late to think again. It's not too late to do the right thing. Approach the debate with an open mind and ask yourself this question: is David Cameron's plan to bomb Syria, David Cameron, the Prime Minister who just a few years ago was urging us to bomb Assad, which would have assisted ISIL, which would have assisted the terrorists, which would have assisted the extremists, is his plan in the interests of the Syrian people? Is his plan in the interests of the wider region? And is his plan in the interests of the national security of Britain? And do the 70,000 moderate fighters he refers to, does that claim bear scrutiny?
Richard Burgon, appreciate your thoughts this morning. Thank you for your time on what's a busy day for all MPs today. Thank you very much indeed. Richard Burgon is the MP for Labour East. Reaction?
Yeah, we're just getting a lot of people asking what the alternative is.